Welcome, everyone. My name is Daniel Hapney, and this is The Real Story. I have a question for you. My question is, let's start off with, when in history have you seen people do this? Okay, hold on. I'm going to go the other way. When in history was my first question. The next one is, where in history have you seen people do this? Okay, I'm going to follow it up with, what's happened in history when they made people do this? Everyone's got to do it, by the way. So the questions are, where am I, when am I, and what's happened when it's been like this? So were you able to guess where I was, who I was, when I was? Should I give you the hints? Tonight's show, once again, you're tuned into The Real Story. My name is still Daniel Hapney. What do I like? I like it for my audience to follow the money. I like it for them to consider things themselves, maybe even try to put the puzzle together themselves, and maybe ask questions, do their own due diligence. So I invite you to do your own due diligence. Tonight, what do I have for you? This one I like. So this is freedom. Do you know who I was? I thought I was a U.S. air traveler. The only thing I didn't have was somebody groping my testicles. But I'm sure we can have that, and act that out for you. But also, too, when in history have you seen that you had the state, okay, this thing that a lot of people like to worship, they must be in fear of their own existence if they now feel it necessary that they have to feel your wife's genitals before she can fly, or your daughter's genitals, or if not, have a naked image scan of your wife, or maybe of your granddaughter. That's important now to this government. And the question is, so this is freedom. So let me go through some of the, thoughts for the day, just because I know that you feel that the Constitution and the Bill of Rights is important, and maybe that's the foundation of this nation and what made us great, and it was the freedom that we enjoyed that led to the prosperity. And now as you see your freedoms whittled away based on the lie of the false flag terror event known as 9/11, okay, even though there was never an investigation, never a trial, and you always wonder, how did Building 7 collapse, let alone, the hole in the Pentagon doesn't, look like a 757 hit it. That's a whole nother story for another time. But here we go. Now, the feds think it's important, okay, that we radiate Americans. Not only with terahertz waves in the body scanners that were ordered more than a year in advance of the underwear bomber. Remember the airplane Christmas Day underwear bomber? Yeah, they were ordered by Michael Chertoff, the dual citizen, not even American, who was the head of Homeland Security. Sounds like Fazaland, no? And it's rather interesting because now he's benefiting from it. These are all other things. But my next one is, here's a little video for you, because there's the pic of, the picture of, we're going to use X-ray vans. Here's a little video so you understand they are using X-ray vans in America. They now have ordered 500. Wonder what those fusion centers are doing. Maybe we should talk to Officer McGrath here in Sharon and ask what Department of Homeland Security is doing around here these days.
Here's the van. I think this is incredible in a war zone. They're called X-ray vans. They can see through walls. They can see through your clothing. They were previously only bought by the Department of Defense for use in Afghanistan and Iraq. But now it seems the federal government has bought at least 500 of these vans, and they're being used here domestically. Why? For what purpose? Who's using them? They're using them now in your neighborhoods, possibly. That's what we're being told. Congress can't even get a response on this one. The Obama administration is being elusive, won't say exactly who's buying them and why we're driving these vans, apparently, down the streets in our neighborhoods. Now, again, if they're used in a war zone, if they're used for shipping containers at our ports, if they're used at our Mexican border, which I know they're probably not, or our Canadian border, I'm cool, let us know. But pardon me if I'm a little hesitant in giving government free rein to look into people's houses driving down the street without a search warrant. Gang, I mean, I hate to put on the hoop skirt and wig, but doesn't the Constitution figure into any of this? Is it really a good idea to give people who openly think that Americans are Homer Simpson and thus can be manipulated who openly feel it's their duty to control them for the greater good. Should we give them this much power to monitor everything we do? Should people give power to people who think that SUVs and your thermostat and big screen TVs are what's destroying the planet? Should we give them the ability to control our thermostats through a smart grid and manipulate us in every choice we make and monitor everywhere we go?
So anyway, here's a picture. Just so you know, it's okay because, this is freedom. We can have our representatives run underage male brothels out of their homes and hire prostitutes. Oh, I'm sorry. I was talking about the guy that they put into Congress here from Sharon, known as Bernard Frank. Yeah, it's okay for him to be down at the high school, okay, on voter day. Gee, I thought if you have people that, have underage male brothels, I thought you didn't let them near schools. But it's okay, he's a congressman because that's freedom, okay? Gets better. How about the Department of Homeland Security now in New York is going to tell what the steelworkers that they have to be approved. So now the government's going to decide whether or not you can have a job. And this isn't just the only place, because the no-fly list is going to turn into the no-gun-buy list. It's going to turn into the no-job-for-you list. Because as this police state grows, the state is going to do everything they can to not only remain in power, but protect the criminals, okay, who are now running it. And who needs this kind of we're going to decide whether or not you can be employed and have a job? You think I'm kidding? Check it out. I'm not making this stuff up. So anyway, with that in mind, now it's good to know. Here's a little video for you. I used to be in the defense industry. Yes, and I remember the Cold War, and I used to build and test weapon systems for a living. Now we've taken our KH-14 satellites and we've turned them in on America. So not only are they warrantless wiretapping you and stuff, not only are they tracking you with your cell phone, not only are they looking at every credit card transaction you do, but now we're going to use the spy satellites on you, the American citizens, because this is all part of the bait and switch. They told you it was guys in turbans in caves. And you believed them. Okay, and now anyway, the new terrorist is going to be you. So here we go. Here's a little video of the police state. We're going to use spy satellites on Americans, and it's a good thing.
First, there were eyes on the street, and now there are eyes in the skies. The Director of National Intelligence has given the go-ahead for the nation's spy satellites to be used regularly by U.S. civilian agencies and law enforcement.
This is a development all Americans should have great pride in, because it expands and uses national technical systems, which we've built for tens of billions of dollars over many decades.
Spy satellites have primarily been used overseas to monitor things like war zones and terror training camps. They've also been used domestically, but sparingly, during events including Super Bowl games, presidential inaugurals, and hurricanes. Homeland Security officials say the satellites will now be used to protect borders and critical infrastructure,
which includes ports, and looking at potential vulnerabilities and threats, as well as consequences of attacks.
Next in line, law enforcement agencies, which are expected to start using them next year. While they can provide crucial high-resolution images, there are limits to what these satellites can do. They can't see faces, and they can't listen. At least, that's what the government claims. But privacy groups worry that because there's so much we don't know about their capabilities, they could be misused, and we wouldn't even know it.
The question always comes down to, what are the standards? Are there checks and balances? And is this a power that we would trust the executive branch to use without any outside scrutiny or oversight or control?
Homeland Security officials insist that they are subject to a great amount of oversight and review, but in many ways this is just one more case of the government figuring it out as it goes in the war on terror. Kelly Arena, CNN, Washington.
So I know you probably didn't believe me, but remember when I started the show, now we have enhanced pat-downs by the TSA, and they're going to be at what? At train stations and bus stations and sporting events. You probably think I jest. Here's that, here's the, just so you can get a feeling, during the G20 in Pittsburgh, they had military personnel snatching people off the street. I'm sure you don't want to believe me, but here you go. So that's freedom in America. Okay? Here's a little clip for you. The Indian ambassador, after they had to fill their genitals, said, you know, I'm the ambassador for a country, I'm never coming back. See, because all this TSA pat-down stuff is to condition you that you're a slave. You that you're a prisoner and you should be treated like one. Even though these people aren't sworn law officers, let's ask once again, our sergeant here in Sharon, part of the DHS liaison team, right? Oscar Sharon, he's a sworn law officer. Can he go around and touch people's genitals? I don't think so. But if you go in the airport, oh my gosh, you may be Al-Qaeda. What a crock, but it gets better because this is all about freedom. Remember, we have a Treasury Secretary, his name's Timothy Geithner, okay? Was with what, Goldman Sachs before? Rather interesting because it's a revolving door like Monsanto and the FDA, okay, let alone your drug companies. But it's interesting, he doesn't pay his taxes. But if you don't pay your taxes, we'll put snipers in your yard. Don't believe me, ask Ed Brown. That's right, Evelyn, Geithner doesn't pay his taxes, but when Ed Brown doesn't pay his, we're going to go up there with armed snipers and put them on his property. But that's freedom in America, isn't it? That's right. This is all about freedom. Foreign banks get your tax money. That's right. The Troubled Asset, Recovery Program thing, the TARP. You found out later that the money went to foreign banks. So you're paying taxes so the money can go to foreign banks. That's what I call freedom. This has got nothing about globalism or globalists taking over our country, taking over our constitutional republic. No. This is freedom. Because you're in America, right? You're an American. You care more about what? The party. I'm with the Democrat. I'm with the Republican. Instead of, I'm an American. And I support the Constitution. And I support the Bill of Rights. The things that we make people take oaths to, what? Protect and defend against all enemies, even if they're domestic, huh? But now we call anybody who says the Bill of Rights is important a terrorist. You probably don't believe me just yet, but hey, let's take a look at the Florida Fusion Center. Let's ask Mr. McGrath, do we have a fusion center in Massachusetts, Mr. McGrath? Now you'll find out that the Florida Fusion Center, show them, they were what? They were spying on, Ron Paul? Yes, because what, he was running for president? Heaven forbid anybody who wants to protect and defend the Constitution get an opportunity to voice themselves. But we're going to use the government to spy on him. Why does the Fusion Center have CIA people in it? Mr. McGrath, can you tell us, why is the Army involved in the Fusion Center, Mr. McGrath? It gets better, okay? Who, Mr. McGrath, who oversees the Fusion Centers? That's a good question, I thought. Okay, so anyway, you knew that the CIA and the Army were in there with them. So here's a picture for you. FEMA camps. And you say, oh, FEMA camps? Well, no. Let's understand what the National Emergency Centers Establishment Act is. How is it that Halliburton's subsidiary, Kellogg Brown and Root, got $365 million of your tax dollars to build, places to detain people, and at the same time we changed laws. The Democrats were against them at first, but now we have what? Indefinite detention. We have no jury. You can be arrested, taken off the streets, silenced, and even killed now. They let you assassinate Americans. You probably think I'm wrong. Why don't you do some homework? Find out about the Military Commissions Act. Find out about the Patriot Act. Find out about the John Warner Defense Authorization Act. Find out about the National Emergency Centers Establishment Act. Do some diligence. Do your own due diligence. Don't believe what I say. Find out for yourself. Maybe now's the time to start caring about your family and the future of this constitutional republic, Mr. McGrath. So, with that, hey, how about this one? Because all the Democrats were against the Patriot Act and torture and warrantless wiretapping. Do you remember all this stuff, indefinite detention? But now you got Obama defends the Bush wiretaps. Boy, we can spy on you. Mr. McGrath, did you take an oath to protect and defend the Constitution? And what does Article 4, should I go through number 4? And by the way, do I get to be secure on my persons, or do I have to have my testicles squeezed to fly in America? I wonder. And if I say, you know what, I won't stand for that, am I put on the no-fly, no-buy, no-job list?